Hey, welcome. Welcome. Rahubat, my name is Noon. Welcome, Marco. Thank you for joining me in my humble house with some of my favorite things around me, uh, which are my books and my little friends. Today, I want to talk about what's in the books and the importance of things we take for granted, like the breath. So, these are some of the books that changed my life, which is the Breath book, written by Dr. Malachi York, and it's called the Samai breath. The Samai means the complete union breath, which when you hear Samai, you want to think union, and when you think union, you want to think about the whole. So, using our whole lungs, our whole bodies, our full potential, and remembering the all right? So something as simple as taking for granted breath, or not taking it for its full potential, we see how we don't live life to our full potential. So I would like to demonstrate or explain how the breath is. So most people, especially in the West, if you listen to the way Africans speak, for example, they have a more resound voice compared to us in the West, where we talk a little bit more in our noses, and we're not sure about what we're saying, and there's a lot of doubt, and it has a lot to do with the breath. All right, so you want to charge the breath, and it actually takes you deeper connection to what you're actually saying and the mentality that you're in. So if we're not breathing correctly, our mentality would actually change. So when you hear how someone talks to resound the voice, which my voice has improved a lot through being more mindful about my breath, you would notice that you can resound or resonate the sound so much better. So it's important to charge it with the lower part of the lungs, the mid lungs, and even the upper part of the lungs. Most people just shallow breathe, which leads to anxiety and other type of disorders. All right, mental, physical, and spiritual disorders. All right, so we want to demonstrate an example of a Samai breath. But before we do that, all right, before you can use your instrument, you have to understand how everything is put together. If we don't know the difference between our elbow and our knee, we often misuse our bodies. So these are some like anatomy books, all right, which is my favorite, probably my favorite. I love anatomy and communal diseases. Those are my favorite things to learn about. So I just wanted to hold this up because you can see the lungs really well here. Most of us just use this part of the lungs. The top part of the portion is usually dormant. The cells are very weak, sometimes even dead. And then, or let's just call it dormant. And then the bottom of the lungs, they don't get used. And under here, we have a big muscle. That big muscle is called our diaphragm. And many of us don't engage that. So the organs inside of our body don't get stimulated. So right underneath the lungs, you have all your major organs, and the muscles, when we breathe properly, it actually massages the internal organs, all right? And everything is like moving and things around. So that's what happens when we're not breathing properly. It causes rigidness, and we end up having like still voices, still bodies, and we don't have any type of swag, you know? So, so we want to start by first taking a deep breath in, always through your nose. This is part of your respiratory system where it starts. When you're breathing, you're not pulling your stomach in because you're restricting. If you're pulling your stomach in and you're living in this Western culture and it makes everybody walk around like this and like they have a stick up their butt, and then they're holding in their stomach, all right, you can tell. So your stomach is meant to relax. And then when you breathe in, the stomach initially goes out. And then when you keep breathing in, it starts to go in your stomach because now this middle part of your lungs are expanding. And you continue inhaling. Then finally the top part of your lungs inhale. Now everything is all expanded. And you hold the breath for a moment. Because when you hold the breath for just a moment, you're absorbing all the nutrients that you just absorbed. The main ingredient that we are going to call it is the sakem. Sakem means energy, but Indian people, they call it prana, and Asian people or Oriental people, they call it chi. That's the life force. And then we also have a word called sakam, meaning power, because we know that there's a counterpart of oxygen. That's why when people go on ventilators and they need oxygen, sometimes they don't survive because the oxygen, the machine could only give them oxygen. It can't give them the natural counterpart, which is sakhem or prana or chi. So there's actually lots of chi in the environment. And when you're breathing in, you exhale, you breathed in that chi, that prana, that sakhem, and you exhaled all the things you didn't need, all right? So that is the union breath, like this. And then you notice when children, when they're gonna cry and they're very upset, they do it naturally because it instantly calms them down. They're so upset and they go, ah. So all the stress, they just let it out and then notice afterwards, they just go to sleep, right? So that's what happens with us. We bring ourselves, our adrenals back to a state of rest and we can focus, we can calm down. If you're gonna panic, and you can customize it to what you need at the moment. So if I'm going through so much at the moment, emotionally, this person is annoying me at work or whatever the case is, I'll just go like this on the side. Sigh it out. Then you just feel your brain kind of doing some things. It relaxes. My fingertips feel more relaxed. The energy, I feel everything going through. There's more love in my system. I have a more acceptance, or I would say a divine love of how everything is connected. Even that bad moment is all connected to a bigger piece, and I can accept and also navigate and possibly even manipulate or change the energy to a better outcome. So that's the smile. Or if you're working out, before you're going to take your workout, and you breathe out on the movement, right? That's all smile breath. And life, because a lot of the time when I first started, I said I wanted to be a spiritual person. I wanted to sound so deep, get all this information about things I can't confirm. And I realized that the most spiritual thing is to be able to be in the moment. And just breathing to be in the moment, that's one of the most spiritual things that we can do. This is something we can confirm because the first reality is you. So if you want to learn anything about the universe, first start with yourself. All right, so this is like, for example, the digestive system. We see the lungs sitting on top of the digestive system. There's a big muscle that separates the lungs from all the organs down here. Well, you see the diaphragm right up here, right above this. And when we take a nice deep breath, all this gets stimulated, everything moves. So all the systems, all parts of you is connected, all parts of life is connected. And it's like taking a walk through the rainforest and you feel the mosquitoes, they're biting you. You're like, I wish that they can all just die. Until you see the value of what these mosquitoes are bringing to the rest of the ecosystem, then you start to appreciate and everything starts to fall in its place. And we become more graceful in our own nature and being in balance, in harmony within nature, as a part of nature. So that's where the breath can take you, and so much further.